Hello friends, welcome to my channel English Notes. Friends, today I am going to share some important short question and answer of a poem On His Blindness by John Milton. On His Blindness is a poem in which Milton reflects on his faith as he is turning blind. On His Blindness centers on Milton's faith in God as he is losing his sight. The poem is a sonnet that uses figurative language to express Milton's fear, frustration and acceptance. Question number 1. What is the main theme of On His Blindness? The main themes in On His Blindness are loss and human frailty, biblical authority and duty to God and grace. Loss and human frailty. Milton explores the experience of losing his sight and worries about the implications of his blindness in his relationship with God. What is the meaning of the last line in On His Blindness? The last line of the poem On His Blindness by John Milton relates to a person exercising patience and faith despite their circumstances. The person in this poem feels they are unworthy and useless to God. Their affliction, blindness, has hampered their ability to perform acts and deeds as they once did. Now question number 3. Why is the poet melancholic in the poem On His Blindness? In this sonnet, the word talent refers to right or poetic talent. At the start of the sonnet, Milton is lamenting that because of his blindness, he cannot use his talent as a writer. Question number 4. What does light mean in On His Blindness? Milton, the speaker, expresses his fear that now that he is blind, he is no longer of any use to God, especially since his work as a writer depends on his being able to see. In this sense, the light that is spent refers to Milton's vision, an ability which has already been spent ere half my days have elapsed. Question number 5. What kind of poem is On His Blindness? John Milton's poem On His Blindness is an example of Petrarchan sonnet and follows the rhyme scheme ABBA, ABBA, CDE, CDE. Now, question number 6. What were Milton's feelings when he lost his eyesight? According to Milton in On His Blindness, those who patiently bear the trials of their lives are serving God best. Having lost his vision, the speaker feels his talent has become useless in serving God, which he longs to do now more than ever. Question number 7. Who has written On His Blindness? When I consider how my life is spent, also known as On His Blindness is one of the best known of the sonnets of John Milton. The last 3 lines are particularly well known. They conclude with, "They also serve who only stand and wait," which is much quoted, though rarely in context. Now question number 8. Who are God's best servant according to Milton On His Blindness? According to the poem On His Blindness, people who best bear his mild yoke best serve God. Now question number 9. Who serves God best in On His Blindness? According to Milton in On His Blindness, those who patiently bear the mild yoke of God's will are serving God best. Now question number 10. How many sachets are there on His Blindness? This sonnet, written in the Petrarchan rhyme scheme associated with the 14th century Italian poet Francesco Petrarca, is divided into an 8-line octave and a 6-line sestet. The octave rhymes ABBA, ABBA. Now question number 11. What is the moral lesson in the poem On His Blindness? The moral message of Milton's On His Blindness is that God does not always need the work of human beings or the exercise of their talents. What God wants is for people to bear His mild yoke, as those individuals who submit to His will serve Him best. This may mean waiting patiently. Now question number 12. What is the main idea of on the morning of Christ's Nativity. On the morning of Christ's Nativity is a nativity ode written by John Milton in 1629 and published in his Poems of Mr. John Milton. The poem describes Christ's incarnation and his overthrow the earthly and pagan powers. The poem also connects the incarnation with Christ's crucifixion. Question number 13. At what age Milton became blind? The year 1652 was not a good one for Milton. By March or April, at the age of 43, he was completely blind in both eyes. In May, his wife died 3 days after giving birth to their fourth child, and 6 weeks later, his third child and only son, John, also died. Now question number 14. On his blindness, a religious poem. While the poem discusses Milton's blindness, his condition is used to explore his faith. Like Milton's other religious poetry, the purpose is to decide what a person's relationship with God and his or her role on earth should look like. Question number 15. How does one serve God best on his blindness? According to the poem, those who serve God best are those who can bear his mild yoke patiently. To the poet, God does not need man's work or gifts. Instead, God looks for humans to bear his mild yoke patiently. Now question number 16. Why doesn't God need man's work on his blindness? In the first half of the poem, the speaker asks whether God requires physical labor from those who cannot see. Patience then appears to explain that God does not need man because God does not need anything. Men who best bear his mild yoke offer the hurt that God requires. Question number 7. Is Milton blind? John Milton has often been regarded as the greatest poet of his time, yet he did not compose his most famous work, Paradise Lost, until after he had become blind in both eyes. Now question number 18. What is the structure of On His Blindness? Milton's poem On His Blindness was first published in 1673, 21 years after the poet lost his sight completely. The poem is written as a Petrarchan sonnet, which means that a problem is posed in the first 8 lines or octet and a solution is proposed in the final 6th line or sestet. Now question number 19. What is central idea of the poem? A poem's core concept is the subject of the poem or what it's about, if you like. While many shy away from poetry being about something, at the end of the day, as it was written, the poet had something in mind, and that something, whatever it was or may have been, is the central concept. Question number 20. What is the main idea of On the Morning of Christ's Nativity Quizlet? Thesis. As a patent, John Milton's poem On the Morning of Christ's Nativity focuses less on the actual birth of Christ and the physical child himself, and instead seeks to instill in his audience a sense of wonder and away at the mystical element and importance of Christ's incarnation as man. Now question number 21. Why would the oracle's words be deceiving? Why would the oracle's word be deceiving? The oracles of the classical Greek and Roman world were notorious for prophecies that were extremely obscure and often led to destruction when they seemed to point to good fortune. Now question number 22. Why is the sun ashamed on the morning of Christ's Nativity? The sun comes into the poem in the 11th stanza of On the Morning of Christ's Nativity. He embarrassed of his inferior flame and trouble rising to great Christ. He knew at that moment that his light was nothing compared to the new greater sun. Now last question 23. What is the mile yoke? Mile yoke is a reference to the very slight burden that man has to bear. Serving God is not that great a task, and therefore the burden yoke is not such a strain. The word yoke is a reference to a wooden crossbar carried on the shoulders by a farmer or laborer or even a large farm animal. So friends, these are the questions and answer of a poem on his blindness. I hope you like it. If you like my video, please like, share, comment and subscribe, and please don't forget to press the bell icon for new video notification. Thanks for watching.